Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues with JIDE. Here we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, Emefiele Buhari dragged to International Criminal Court over Naira Redesign, hardship and debts. Also, we'll be talking about Yoruba versus Igbo, Sanwo-Olu, Governor Uzodinma, others meet over Alaba International Demolition. Well, in the course of the program, we'll take your questions, but first subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments whose names are clear and are about the issues that are being discussed. I have joining me via Zoom the maestro himself, the Okulora of Enugu land, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, who is in Kogi State to celebrate his own dad, for the installation of His Royal Majesty Oba Johnson Kolade-Otitoju as the fourth Akinrin of Ekinrin-Ade in Kogi State, now upgraded to first class Oba. BKO, congratulations to you and welcome to the show. Despite very busy day for you, you are able to make the program.
Yes, this underlines just how much value we place on our viewers. We have absolute respect for our viewers, and for this reason, I have never missed an episode of Issues with JIDE since we began the program more than a year ago. So whether I'm in far away, Maiduguri, and other dangerous places, like Zamfara, I always find a way to do the program. And today, because my dad has warned me never to call Ekinrin-Ade a village. In my view, when you look both ways, and you can see that a community needs to be bigger, you can conclude straight away that it's a village. But my dad has warned me never to call Ekinrin-Ade a village, and I do not want a royal decree placed on my head. So I will call it a little town. Maybe someday we want me never to call it a little town again. But that is what it is. Today, the governor of Lagos State upgraded my dad's stool from his hitherto ungraded position to the first class traditional ruler. Some of his staff were actually taught in secondary school by my dad, and he put a lot of things together. The age of the stool, the Ekinrin stool, 723-year-old stool.
Wow!
For it not to have been graded all these years, the governor saw that as an act of injustice, and he corrected that justice in a very remarkable way by elevating him to the rank of a first-class traditional ruler. This really made us happy. It's a double celebration for us.
Fantastic stuff.
But now we are here for business in Kogi State. We are here for business in Kogi State, Ekinrin-Ade, the town of first. That's where I am. I'm sitting in front of my house, surrounded by TVC staff who came to rejoice with us. I think I should change this cap really to something that really matches what I'm wearing. So my wife just brought this for me.
Amazing.
Yes. It looks a little distorted. I don't want this. It's looking like an Amazon cap now, but I think I should go for something more.
Absolutely, it's actually befitting, and then just
Uh,
in place of your crowned, beaded regalia that were bestowed upon you in Enugu land. So
yeah,
it's just a combination of different titles in your family. Congratulations to you, BKO. Let's get into the conversation for today. Um, we should
thanks,
begin with
thanks.
the one that is trending on Twitter, social media, etc. The Yoruba versus Igbo thing is really taking the media by the storm. Well, Governor Sanwo-Olu and Governor Uzodinma, among others, they meet over Alaba market demolition. What's your reading of this, development? I won't say recent development, but then it actually built up towards the election, and then build up, and looks like there's much division among two tribes who have been friends for over the years or centuries.
Yes, yes. Happy that Governor Uzodinma, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Benjamin Kalu, the young man from Abia State, came to Lagos to have a meeting with the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and the agenda is clear. Let us try to calm the storm between the Yorubas and the Igbos in Lagos. It is an uneasy calm that pervades Lagos at this time. The disagreement is blatant. We cannot pretend that a lot of bad blood um, was generated in the course of the 2023 general election, especially the presidential and later the governorship election. During the governorship election, some people were attacked in areas that our friends from the southeast, the Igbos, were in majority, and they felt that this was done to ensure that the party of their choice did not win the election in those constituencies, in those areas. Some people were wounded, some people were beaten up, some people were stopped from voting. The truth is, with
Audio
in
issue from BKO. BKO,
Lagos
can you hear me?
State, there were concerns about how things panned out during the election. I have condemned what happened a number of times. Even if it happens in other places, we do not want to see it happen in Lagos. For this reason, a lot of my friends from the southeast are very angry about the way things went. And I recall that the governor of Ebonyi, in an interview with TVC, advised our friends from the southeast to show respect to their hosts. As far as it's concerned, there is no such thing as a no man's land. You can actually do your business in any part of Nigeria, but no one should say that a place is a no man's land. And I remember the governor of Ebonyi State giving the example of New York, that you can't even say New York, as cosmopolitan as it is a no man's land. That where you are making your money, where it pleases God to let you achieve prosperity, you must respect your host. So there is bad blood between the Yorubas. The Yorubas in Lagos State believe that the Igbos do not respect them enough as good hosts, and the Igbos too feel very bad about the way some of their people were treated during the election. Yes, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State said the attacks happened in less than 1% of the entire constituencies in Lagos. But the attacks happened and they were reported. So whether the attacks happened in less than 1% of the entire constituencies in Lagos, a bad thing is bad enough. Now, what this has led to is the feeling that whatever action governor takes in Lagos that does not please some Easterners or a good number of Easterners must have been taken to punish them for voting for Labour Party. This is what I do not want to see or hear about. The misunderstanding has to be resolved. The Urban and Regional Planning Board in Lagos State set out to take down some distressed buildings in Alaba. Of course, the meaning that was read to it was, oh, they'll come after the Igbos again. Before now, some buildings believed to belong to the Federal Aviation Authority, you know, after repeated warnings that those buildings were erected on government property and that they should vacate those buildings because they didn't get the permission to put those buildings where they put them. Didn't get permission from official quarters. The buildings remained, they were pulled down. Again, the accusation was, oh, they came for those buildings because they were owned by Igbos. We do not want to continue to see this back and forth. And I'm happy that the governor of Imo State and the gentleman who is the deputy speaker of the House of Reps came to Lagos to try to iron things out with the governor so that our friends from the Southeast can feel happy as they've always been, can feel comfortable to do their business in Lagos State, to contribute to the development of the economy of Lagos State without having a feeling that, oh, they are coming for us because we didn't vote for Sanwo-Olu. As I've said in the past, the people who are harassed, who are beaten up, did not have to be beaten up. Even without beating them up, if you mobilize your supporters competently and in an aggressive manner, you are still going to win the election because your population is greater than the population of our friends from the East. So there's no need to beat up anybody before you win an election. And I gave the example of Magodo. In the presidential election in Magodo, in Kosofe local government, the APC lost the election. But in the governorship election, the APC won by a hefty margin, and they didn't beat anybody. So you don't need to beat anyone to win an election if you mobilize your own supporters very well, especially on election day. So in my view, we don't need these disagreements. We are one people. People should be free to cohabit with fellow Nigerians in any part of the country. But just as the governor of Ebonyi said, in order to ensure that we do not have disagreements, you know, we have to learn to live happily together and respect our hosts. If I go to the north to live, I know the sensitivities of our people from northern Nigeria. I know the things that they don't want to see. I know that they value the sanctity of their religion and all that. So it makes sense for me to not do anything that will make them angry, that will make them feel like, oh, this person has disrespected my religion. Oh, this person has disrespected our culture. So we have to live happily together and put politics behind us. The elections are gone. The bad blood needs to go so that the Yorubas and the Igbos who have lived happily together for centuries can continue to live happily together, intermarry, because I have a cousin who is even married to an Igbo woman. And I recall when I was in the north, before I got married, I hope my wife is not listening, a good number of my girlfriends were Igbos. You know, maybe if I had not been transferred to Lagos, maybe I would have ended up marrying an Igbo woman, just like my cousin. You know, so we are one people. We have to respect one another, cherish one another, and try to pursue those things that deepen our oneness, that make us really strong together.
Right. Let me take one or two comments here. Fabian Akaise says the truth of this issue is that the tribal issues in Lagos is purely political. The last elections saw the manipulation of Igbos into thinking that the election was for an Igbo to be president. So the Lagos state government must pass a law that punishes tribalists in the state. We rarely hear about this crisis until elections. This is unpardonable and has to stop. Also, Igbos must respect Lagos. Alaba is asking you a question. He says, BKO, do you think the Igbos could ever rule this country with their current approach to politics?
To win an election in our country, you need the buy-in of other tribes, especially the dominant tribes. Peter Obi did not win the election. No matter how much he tries to convince people that he was the winner of the election, it's an impotent effort on his part. He didn't win the election. He couldn't have won because he only dominated the election in the Christian-dominated states. Christian-dominated states. In any state dominated by Muslim, Peter Obi didn't come close to winning. Not to talk of winning. His best performance in the far north, his best performance was in Kaduna State, and he only scored 21% of the votes. For you to win an election in Nigeria, you must have cross-country support across board, support not limited to your ethnicity, not limited to your religion. A situation in which you win only in places where people of your religion vote en masse for you, you will never be president. Buhari and Peter Obi are very similar. Buhari contested election 3 times and lost because he could not penetrate southern Nigeria, because he could not win in states dominated by Christians. So Buhari would dominate the election in the far north, but still fall short. If you look at the 2011 election, you will see that Goodluck Jonathan had the spread. He did well in the north central. He did well in the southwest. He did well in the southeast. Buhari only did well in the far north. Peter Obi is similar to Buhari because Peter Obi only won in states where you have Christian majority. And I will say that even Lagos has Christian majority. It is clear because he won in Lagos, the presidential election. Look at Osun State, as I've said in the past. Osun has, in terms of percentage, Osun is the southwest state with the highest percentage of Muslims. It was PDP that won Osun State, not Peter Obi. You know? So you got to have the spread. The Igbos need to work with the dominant tribes. They need to reach out to the north. They need to reach out to the north And when they can convince the North that they are a good partner to work with, that the North does not need to fear them or have the kind of reservations that they have for them, they will get the support of the North. The biggest chunk of the votes are in the North. And once they get this buy-in of the North, once a candidate from the East gets the buy-in of the North, the East will coast home to victory, because I'm sure it won't be difficult for them to get the support of the South-South, the support of the Southeast, even the North Central, where you have a good number of states with Christian majority. You know, states like Plateau, states like Benue, states like Kogi has Christian majority. You know, so once you have that, you'll be able to coast home to victory. But dominating election in places where your religion is in majority, you will never win. The people who crafted our constitution made it difficult for any sectional leader to be able to win election in our country. It's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
Because you need thirds in 24 states. You will never get 2/3 in 24. I mean, you never get 25% in 24 states of our country if you do not have the required spread. If your support does not cut across ethnicity and other divides. So that is the problem that Peter Obi has. People will say, oh, he won the same number of states. It is not the number of states that you won that matters. Tinubu did not have to win so many states, but he came second. He was very competitive in most of the states. So he came second in 29 out of 36 states. That's the reason he won the election.
Religion and tribe are identities. It's the politicization that's the issue. Leonard Leyland Faro says there are Hausas in Alaba and they live peacefully with the hosts. Why has it got to be only Igbos all the time? Well, that's his comment. We need to change tack. A whistleblower and an anti-corruption crusader, Dr. George Ubo, said he had submitted a petition to the International Criminal Court against former President Muhammadu Buhari and the suspended governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, over crimes purportedly committed against Nigerians with the implementation of the Naira Redesign policy, or what I call Naira Recoloration policy. Is this not a way of disturbing Mr. Buhari, who had begged to be left alone when out of office?
Well, one of the terrible things that the former president did that damaged his legacy, that gave him a bad name before some of his staunchest supporters, was this Naira Redesign thing. The Naira Redesign thing was targeted at some politicians. We've been told that it was actually targeted at Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, at the end of the day, it turned out a very stupid, very silly program, very silly policy that inflicted pain on innocent, poor Nigerians. How do you even convince yourself that you can stop an article, a Tinubu, from finding money to run their election? I mean, the people think like this. I have terrible words for them. I just don't want to explain how I feel about people incapable of thinking constructively. These billionaires in politics, they have considerable interest in banks. So the bank MDs are their friends. And you fool yourself that you can stop them from laying hands on the money that they need to do their election. I mean, it's a very, very silly thing to think about. The politicians at the end of the day found the money to do the election. Their friends in the banks saved some money for them for the election. But the ordinary people had no money. They got so angry and they were setting ablaze banks. On the day that they set ablaze Access Bank and other banks in Shagamu, if they had found that they pushed back into the system. So if you printed enough Naira notes and you got them circulated, how come as we speak, people are hardly even using the new notes? If you have 1,000 Naira notes, I can tell you that 3/4 of those notes will be the old currency. And he fought against his country. The Supreme Court gave an order that the CBN governor refused to obey because he felt he had the support of Muhammadu Buhari and the cabal. Where are those people today to protect him? If the International Criminal Court gets hold of him, former President Buhari will not come to his aid. Because Yorubas will say, if they send you on a silly errand, you've got to use your common sense and do what is right. Some Nigerians could not pay the hospital bills of their relations who were ill. Some Nigerians died because they could not pay their way. They could not pay to have their sick people admitted in hospital. People had money in Zenith Bank especially, but could not even transfer money. They could not make transactions. They had their money and they were being given 1,000 Naira notes. It's not enough to feed their families, and people were starving. That is a crime against humanity. So I'm not surprised that it's been reported to the International Criminal Court. I'm not surprised that he's been accused of crimes against humanity. Because when you look at the number of people that we lost, the number of people whose businesses were destroyed by the actions of a thoroughly incompetent CBN governor, then you will say that he deserved his fate. He absolutely deserved to be in the slammer where he is at this time. And he absolutely deserves to be sent to the International Criminal Court along with his principal, who was his enabler. But of course, his enabler, former President Muhammadu Buhari, claimed that it did not get in his way, that it did not stop him from obeying the Supreme Court judgment. When the Supreme Court wanted a stay of action, Emefiele refused. Emefiele refused. I wonder where he got his arrogance from. A man thoroughly incompetent, being that arrogant because you thought you had the support of the president. So I am not surprised that it's been reported, and whichever way you look at it, even if he doesn't get arrested in the end and taken before the International Criminal Court, it is on record that he waged a war against his countrymen and women. Right. He caused the death of many of his countrymen and women by the shitty implementation of a thoroughly thoughtless policy that he came up with. India also did this kind of thing, and they regretted it. They regretted it. It hurt the economy. I think in 2016, we always learn the negative from other countries of the world. We don't know what to imbibe from other countries of the world. I know when we want to learn, we learn in the wrong way. So I have no sympathy for Emefiele.
Right.
I'll be happy to see him taken before the International Criminal Court.
Right.
In fact, I will celebrate, buy drinks for people if that should happen.
Meanwhile, Ebenezer Obi, that's Felix Akiode, says, in terms of fairness, Emefiele should have his day in court. Fabian Akeze says, we want every national infrastructure named after Buhari to be changed immediately. President Tinubu must enact a probe into the past administration. PMB cannot walk free when Nigerians suffered miserably. Alag Terile says the Naira redesign or color of Naira has dented the image of the former president and it will go down in history. So many people suffered and lost their lives. It was so bad. But then, very quickly, Biko, because we need to go now and allow you to marry. The petitioner claimed to have been detained for 101 days by Mr. Emefiele in 2019 for exposing corruption at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Do you think his petition is mainly a vendetta against the former CBN governor?
Well, the question to ask is, did he lie against him? Can we say in good conscience that he lied? There's nothing that he said in that petition that I didn't say on Journalist Hangout and on this program. Emefiele was such a terrible CBN governor. Thoroughly incompetent. I don't know how, it is only in a country like this that such a person could even last that long. Look at how he bastardized our currency. He came in when our currency was exchanging for the Naira at less than 200 Naira to a dollar. And he left us at around 768. He didn't lie against him. He didn't lie. Yes, he may feel justified to. He may have felt justified to take that action because of what they did to him. But that doesn't mean that the action that he has taken is not good. He has not done anything wrong, because if you ask fellow Nigerians, they will tell you that one of the best decisions that Mr. President has taken was to send Emefiele on an indefinite suspension. Look at the way Nigerians jubilated. Look at the way the stock market responded to the suspension of the CBN governor, the most incompetent CBN governor of his generation. So what are we talking about? If I were in shoe, I would do the same thing.
All right, we need to go.
His own detention may have been a motivation, but it doesn't make what he has done wrong. I don't think what he did was wrong.
All right, so let me quickly read these few comments that are actually congratulating your dad, and then we call it a wrap. BKO. Fair God says, JIDE, congratulations on your new appointment as a prince, and congratulations on your dad. On your dad's installation. Please kindly give one of your numerous titles to Ibrahim as a colleague. Oh, really? Ola Babalola said, BKO, consider done. All right. I'll be looking forward to receiving one of those titles. So
I said I will consider that. I didn't say consider it done.
Oh, I thought you said consider. I thought you've already stamped it.
You may not. You may still not get it.
All right, Alaba said, BKO, sir, do you think...
Okulora of Enugu Aguleri, the source of Igbo land, the Ile-Ife of Igbo land. That is where the Igbos originated from. That is the oldest tool in Igbo land and the most respected tool. That is where their traditional ruler gave me the title of the voice of the people, Okulora. So I see myself as even Okulora and Igbo. That is the voice of the Igbos. I will always speak for them, speak in their favor, and I will always speak for the Nigerian people in general. So it's not Enugu, but Enugu Aguleri.
Enugu Aguleri. Nice. Allah Teride says, congratulations to BKO's father for being upgraded to first class chief, first class Oba. That's the Dean DGP says, Maestro, Ekinrade cannot be a village anymore now. It was already a small town when I served around there way back in the mid-1980s. I believe you know Igbagun. Igbagun, okay. Right. So,
that's Yagbaland.
Felix Akiode says, long may your father reign. And lots of prayers here, you know, and encomiums on you and also your family. So
and
say
obviously
congratulations.
appreciate their prayers so much. What happened today, we didn't expect it. But for a throne that is 723 years old, I guess the governor just felt, look, these have been years and years of injustice. And they felt it was in his place to correct that injustice by giving what amounted to a triple promotion. Not a double promotion, triple promotion.
Wow.
You know, so we are overjoyed here. We are waiting for this program to end. I told the musicians to stop drumming. So once this program ends, we have our people here. We have a grill, and we will enjoy this day. Tomorrow we are back in Lagos to continue the rat race life of Lagos.
All right, then we should go. Let's leave you. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with JIDE. Special thanks to you, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, for those insightful analysis as always. And thanks to you, to our audience, for joining us on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim TVC News. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.